Okay everyone, so today we are going to go through and we're going to replace my drive shaft, and also we're going to kind of check over everything. And I'm just going to do a little walk around right now until Mike gets here so he can help me out with the drive shaft and everything. I'm just going to kind of look over everything. I've been looking at the tires. I just want to do a kind of once over. I haven't done it in a couple weeks. I just want to make sure all the tires are looking good, and just kind of check everything. Right there actually is where I took a screw when we were on the trail last time as well, and thankfully it didn't leak whenever I took it out. Tires are still looking pretty good so far. So as y'all can see, I think it's getting worse. The drive shaft does look like it's a little bit worse on the crease side, so I definitely need to get this thing out and get the new one in. And so right up here on the cross member, it's actually, I don't think the cross member is actually bent. I think it's just this, and I'm gonna try my best to bend this back. I'm gonna take it off and try to beat it out and see if we can beat it down a little bit, try to help to keep us from having to spend so much money right now. Because right there, it's hitting right there and it's pushing it up and causing the actual exhaust to come loose. The front drive shaft actually, there it is, the boot. It is busted right there. So we do have a busted boot. Everything else is looking all right though. I think the front drive shaft will get by for now. The tires are all looking good, and you know, there's no damage to them, no serious damage. You know, there's some chipping in them, of course, all of them get it, but everything looks pretty good other than that. And we're gonna get started at it. Hey Mike, say hello.
Hello.
Hey guys, also I just want to note that these things are not just for bling. You see that? That's a solid hit, that if you had hit your factory diff cover, that would have seriously damaged it and possibly pushed it into the into something in there, so into the pinion gear. So that is definitely not just for bling. It actually does serve a purpose. I know there's a lot of people that say it's just bling, but I do not agree with that at all. This diff cover actually serves as armor. One of the things that I did notice is that this right here, this nut right here is actually loose, so we're going to get it tight and make sure we take care of that, because those are the kind of things that can actually cause death wobble and things like that. Any kind of nuts here that might be loose, this one as well. So this, you know, you think it serves no purpose, right? But actually what it does is it keeps this thing from shifting back and forth. So you don't think it really serves that much of a purpose, but it really does. It keeps this from shifting back and forth and actually stripping out these threads. I've read a lot online about the JKS drag link actually stripping out right here and, you know, being useless because this nut wasn't properly tightened. So we've always got to make sure that this nut is properly tightened. And I'll tell you right now, that's one of the things that's usually loose whenever I get up under here. Almost every time it's loose, and I really put the juice on it too. I think I'm gonna put some Loctite on it and see if we can't get it to do a little better, because it just keeps on coming loose, and I really don't want it to mess up this track bar, because it is pretty good quality. Okay guys, so we are taking the last couple of bolts out of the drive shaft here. Mike is actually getting the last few right here. And the back, it'll, like I was saying on the differential in the unboxing video, it's actually going to stay the same, which is good, because that means that we don't have to worry about messing up our crush sleeve by over tightening that pinion nut. And up here, you really don't have anything to worry about. You just torque it to 160 foot-pounds and you're good to go. But yeah, we'll be getting this thing out here in just a few minutes and putting the new one in, getting the new yoke on and all that. So there we are. So this one, the front came off pretty easy with no bounce, but this one right here is probably going to take a little vibration, maybe even a pry bar, so I went and got a pry bar too. But just something to break it up a little bit. There she is. All right.
In there.
Cool. All right, guys. So we've gotten this off. We had to use the pulley puller here and attach that and to this right here, and just this thing right here presses against the shaft here, and it you tighten it down and it pulls it right off. After you remove it, though, there is a seal right here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take that seal and put it down in the new one, and that just keeps that oil from coming out. And see, there's a little oil that came out that keep from having any kind of little drippage there. And so yeah, we're fixing to install it back on, and going over here, Mike, and you'll stick it on there. We'll show them right there. And then we're gonna put the nut on, and we're gonna tighten it to 160 foot-pounds. All right, we're here with Mike. He's gonna put the juju on it. Mike, do you have what it takes to put the 160 on it? Actually, there's still a long way to go with it, apparently. So that might actually take some of that slack out.
Yeah. I didn't do shoulders yesterday, so.
Oh yeah? That's good.
Oh, here you go.
There it goes. All right.
You good with that?
I'm good with that. Let's see. Oh yeah. It's still got a little bit of play in it, but not much. So that's good. And there's the muffler that took all the beating too. Did you see the muffler, Mike? Yeah. Starting.
Good.
All right. So I'll shoot that down. So we are going to use our extension and our swivel. Let's see what it really is. And get these bad boys tightened if we can with this. We may have to actually use a I think we can use this. We'll see when we get closer to tighten. We may have to put a wrench on it. That is not solid. And his question was, is this drive shaft going to be stronger than that one? Because this is actually a much larger drive shaft than what that is. But yes, the internal wall of that one is actually a lot stronger. And also, this slip joint right here, this slip joint, yeah, so this one has a better slip joint. Come here and I'll show you. So the slip joint right here, this is a lot better because it's got an internal seal.
Yeah.
Where the other one,
that's normal.
Yeah, the other one has grease on the outside, and that boot has to be there to hold the grease in, and it's a pain in the butt to service. This right here, you've got a grease fitting right here, and then the seal's internal, so it can't get damaged by hitting stuff on the trail. And you know, it's actually got, you see, we're barely even using any of the flex on it, so we've got a lot of room that we can go. Where that one right there, you really can't get that much flex out of it, that much stretch. So for a lifted vehicle, this is like really good. But yeah, and this is a lot thicker than what that piece of junk is. So and it's got greasable everything.
Where'd you get this done?
This, I bought that from MetalCloak.
Oh, really?
I bought it from MetalCloak. Yeah, it's a company that makes them. It's Jeep, you know, everybody makes parts for Jeep. Yeah. Okay guys, so I'm here with Mike, and he is doing the back and I'm doing the front. and he made a good point. He was talking about how he's going to tighten these down. And this is the way you always want to tighten something down. Anytime you want to put some juice on it, you always, when there's that many bolts, you always want to do it in a star pattern, okay? And that's what he's doing now. He's doing everything in a star pattern, so he's crossing every time. Whenever you're applying pressure like that, and especially when you're seating something in, you always want to do a star pattern, okay? So up here at the front, we have got these things right here, and we want to make sure, let me see if I can get a good shot in there. We want to make sure we're closing those gaps the same. I think that one's off a little bit, so I'm going to, if I can't pull that in, I'm going to have to back that one off a little bit. But we want to make sure that they've got the same gap all the way around. So the way you do that is you tighten them a little bit at a time. So that's what we're doing. And to do that one, just so you know, you have to use a, unfortunately, you have to use a wrench, and a ratchet wrench will not work. So it's little here, little there, you know, it's a very slow process, but you have to use a wrench because the socket won't get in there really good. I guess if you had, I don't know, I don't know, because I have extensions, I have swivels, I have everything. It didn't get in there good enough. But you really just have to use a 12.5/16 on that. All right, and you have to have a 12.5/16. And that's also something, Mike made this point a while ago, that you want to make sure you have in your toolkit when you're on the trail, because one of the main failures on a trail is going to be a drive shaft. That's what you're going to usually break when you break something, you know. So you want to have the stuff to be able to do this on the trail. So Mike, what size was these? What size? So these Allens right here are a 6mm, so you want to have that. And then this is a 5/16 12 point, like I said. So a 6mm Allen and a 5/16 12 point. And just so you know, you can't really get into that with a socket either because the way it's set up. So you'll need to have regular Allens for that as well. Thanks. So we had to loosen the exhaust, and it still had a leak. So we had to loosen it and put the clamp back, you know, pull the clamp back and then push it back over it real good so that it will not leak, because it was leaking pretty bad. And that was because this right here was it was contacting it. So yeah, you know, I really need those exhaust spacers. I'm seeing now that I really need the exhaust spacers because it's I mean, which, you know, this is fully flexed on the front, so I mean, it's not like this happens all the time, but it's hitting right here on that. So I thought pulling that the skid plate for the transmission, it would actually let it down far enough that it wouldn't do that, but apparently it doesn't. I never put the exhaust spacers in here because I didn't think it was necessary, but apparently it is. So we'll be doing that soon. All right, guys, so remember I told you that this was warped. It's really bad warped, by the way. When we took it off, it was really spring loaded. So we're actually going to use a press to push it down. We were actually talking about beating it with a hammer, but we're in a fully functional shop here. They've got just about everything you can imagine. So we decided we'd see if they had a press, and they do. So here we are, we're going to use the press. I don't know if y'all can see it, but you can kind of see it straightening out. Keep going. Keep going. I think that's getting close.
One more?
One more. Maybe one more. Yep, that's it right there. All right. So we're good. We're going to try that, guys, and we'll see where it goes. All right, guys, so as you can see, we are not hitting the exhaust anymore, and we're not hitting the drive shaft anymore with that bar, not even close. So we're in good shape. We got that all. So we're now going to go for our test drive and make sure everything's straight. All right, so here we go. All right, guys, so I'll tell you right now, I'm running 70 and there is not a single bit of vibration in this Jeep whatsoever. That fixed everything. I mean, it totally fixed everything. There's just no vibration whatsoever. It's amazing the difference that just made. I'm really surprised. I also tightened up a couple of jam nuts that were disconnected, that were loose. I'm sorry, that were loose, and that helped to tighten up my steering some too, just a little bit. It really wasn't vibrating too bad, but I could feel the little bit of vibration and kind of shakiness while I was under braking, and say I was in a turn or something, and all that's gone. But the most important thing is that at 65, which it felt like before, it was about to come apart at 65 miles an hour. Now at 65, it is just super smooth. I can let go of the wheel and not have to worry about anything. So mission accomplished, guys. We totally got it going, and we're ready to go wheeling again. Like I said, we're still going to replace the front drive shaft. It's fine for now, but we are definitely going to replace that. But that will come when we do the axles and everything like that. So we're going to be getting a drive shaft with those axles. So we're definitely going to replace it with that one, and we'll be good to go, man. I'm super happy. Hey, by the way, I wanted to say this. Hats off to MetalCloak and their quality, because that drive shaft, even though I joke around because it was scratched whenever I got it, but that's not a big deal. But Adams, they use like a U-bolt to attach the U-joints. They use a U-bolt for the U-joints to hold them in place. MetalCloak does not do that. They actually have a collar that holds it in place, which is much stronger than a U-bolt. I've used U-bolts in the past, and U-bolts are just prone to breaking. They're just really not that strong. Now I've got a grade 8 bolt in there, and it's fixed to a collar, which is a whole lot better. And by the way, that collar that we were tightening on the transfer case, it actually didn't have a gap. It actually comes down flush. I thought it was going to have a small gap, but once it actually wiggled into place and everything, it actually went flush. So when you're tightening it down, there's no gap there to cause more strain, because when you have that gap, it's like you're squeezing it together and it's actually causing a strain. Whenever you can go flush on both sides, it's just tightening. It's just flat and strong, and it's just better. MetalCloak, hats off to y'all. Y'all really did a great job. Everybody said, why'd you get MetalCloak? It's a 1310. You could have gone with a 1350 if you did Adams. And I'm like, no, well, the reason I actually did it is because I trust MetalCloak and their products, because they make good products. And also because I just had an account with them. But after seeing this and seeing the quality, MetalCloak is definitely the way I'll go in the future for most things that I can get, if I can afford it. All right. Anyway, thanks, guys. See ya.